Hello, welcome to part 3 of our vlog. Thank you so much for viewing the first 2. And this is telling you a bit more about Lucy's Law, which hopefully you all know about and are all terribly involved in already. Now, why are we doing Lucy's Law, as in you and I, rather than the huge big charities that, and they are big, those charities. It's always surprising people when they discover, and you just go on Charities Commission and download the finances of charities, and it's totally visible. But like Dogs Trust, which used to be called the National Canine Defence League, how much a year do you think they get in donations? Well, I'm going to save you looking it up. £98 million a year. And how many dogs do they rescue? 16,000. 16,000. So would it be cheaper to send those dogs to university? Do the maths. So why am I being mean to Dogs Trust? Well, Dogs Trust do loads of lovely things, but they are our biggest dog charity and our wealthiest. Yet, bizarrely, they're also the charity that isn't backing Lucy's Law. Now, that is odd, isn't it? Because it's such an obviously sensible idea, Lucy's Law. No one wants dispassionate third parties making money out of the misery of puppy farming. Nobody wants those dogs suffering. So why does our biggest animal welfare charity have a stance that says no to banning this third party trade? Or at least, no, not now. This sick trade, let me get back to government getting loads of letters from people who are deeply distressed because they now realise what's going on, and it's everywhere. I mean, we used to complain about pet shops, and we thought it'll never get any worse than this. And then the internet came, and now everybody potentially is their own retail outlet. And there's all these people selling dogs who don't know anything about dogs, they've just bought them in. Like they've bought in a job load of fake designer jeans or handbags. Right, so this is the problem. The politicians know there's a problem. They're getting loads of grief from their constituents who are buying dogs. And they're getting loads of people saying, I don't like this pet shop that's selling dogs that are dying. So they turn to the select committee and they turn to the group of the great and good and say, well, what should we do, folks? And everybody on those committees is saying the same thing publicly. Well, let's ban those third parties. Let's ban dealers. Let's get the puppy out of pet shops at last. Here's our big chance. Well, that was what was happening. I think it was February last year. That's what we all thought. Here we go. This is it. So when they found out that after it looking really, really promising, that DEFRA had advised Mr. Gove not to ban third-party sales, well, there was a bit of a fuss, because who on earth would have said that? Thankfully, a Freedom of Information Act request, which is the sort of thing people do to expose corruption and other things. Anyway, that's how all good, proper journalists find things out. It wasn't me who did it, someone else did it. Did a Freedom of Information Act request and got all the correspondence to find out who was it who advised DEFRA not to ban third parties selling dogs. And the surprise was, it was Dogs Trust and Blue Cross. Two of our biggest, most respected charities had privately, quietly, quite sneakily, gone direct and said, we don't think it's a good idea to do this because of the possibility of unforeseen, what was it they called it? Unforeseen consequences. Yeah, like not having puppies dying, not having breeding slaves, having a miserable life. Well, those are actually quite foreseeable consequences. Now, that was an odd thing to have said. So the next meeting where everyone who goes to these APCOR meetings was going to be interesting because it was now out in the open that two charities had totally gone against everything else. I mean, for years they've been campaigning for this. Had totally gone against what they'd said publicly. I was at that meeting. I have to say, it was tense. Only one person had turned up, the lady from Dogs Trust was brave and had actually fronted up. No one from Blue Cross did. And the anger in that room. There were people who felt this was a treacherous thing that had happened. But we wanted to know why. Why had they done that? And there is a statement, and We'll put a link here so you can read their statement. So you can, give it your best shot, try and understand this bizarre advice. They were worried that if we banned these horrible people from breeding loads of dogs and selling them, there might be a puppy shortage. It's kind of odd, isn't it? That a dog welfare charity is worrying about a puppy shortage. Well, we think that £98 million of donations comes from somewhere. And I suspect you are one of those people who've donated, maybe sponsored one of their dogs, you've maybe got direct debit. Get in touch. Ask them whether or not you think you'd like to give them money in the future if they don't change their minds on this really, really, really important issue. It was them that invented a dog is for life, not just for Christmas. Why would they want to be the wrong side of history? Blue Cross never bothered turning up at the meeting. I think sent a statement. There's a statement you can read from them online. I presume they're just following their friend Dogs Trust. They've kept their head down on this. Battersea knew that Dogs Trust and Blue Cross were doing it, but they abstained. They didn't join in. Battersea have council contracts. I don't know if you know the differential here, but Dogs Trust don't have any arrangements with council pounds. So when you see those lovely adverts that say we don't put a healthy dog down, well, they don't take them in the first place. They don't receive the stray dogs. There's been a TV programme called Lost and Found. Well, they don't have any arrangements with the councils. The councils have got an arrangement in London with Battersea. They have to take every single dog that's stray in certain areas. But no, Dogs Trust choose which of the 16,000 dogs that they rehome. They're very selective. They pick ones that will move quickly, that are going to be attractive. I feel Dogs Trust may have lost their way, that they've forgotten what they're meant to be there for. They're meant to be there for dog welfare, not the welfare of the Dogs Trust. I am going to say, if we don't get Lucy's Law passed, I'm going to blame the Dogs Trust. I'm drawing a line in the sand here. There is time for them to change. I cannot believe that everybody who works for Dogs Trust, and the Daily Mirror exposed recently that the chief executive is paid more than the Prime Minister. So I think, maybe spend a bit of overtime thinking this one through. Why are you doing this? And if you all shout, if you all say, because that £98 million came from you, that you're not happy about the way they're spending the money, maybe they'll change their mind. But we also need you to talk to your MP, because this bizarre advice needs overruling. It's totally illogical. We should be banning third parties selling dogs, not tomorrow, not when we've done another survey or done some more bean counting. It's wrong. It's immoral. Dogs are suffering. People are suffering. So, yeah, make some noise and get more involved. I mean, you're already, some of you, I've been loving your tweets. I mean, there's a fantastic app where you can get the Twitter address of your MP and loads of other people's MPs, and they can't hide on Twitter. If you find somebody who won't sign, just keep asking them why. Who wouldn't back this? And yeah, I'm sorry. Dogs Trust Blue Cross, you're on the naughty step. Please, there's time to change. Do tune in. Hopefully we'll have some good news soon, but get involved and let me know how you get on. If you've got a particularly tricky MP, I'll join in. I'll get on Twitter and we've had a few successes. So come on, everyone, get motivated. We can do this. You can do it. It's very important that you tick the bell here and subscribe to this video channel. Otherwise you're going to miss out. And tell your friends, if they love dogs, really, please tune in. Also keep up with our Facebook pages and also websites, dogstodaymagazine.co.uk, dogsmonthly.co.uk and perfectlyhappy.com. And comments, please tell us how we're doing. And if you want to see anything specific, do make some comments.